Hey, I bought this weed eater a few years ago. Had it for, I don't know, 3, 4 years, something like that. Um, Whenever I bought it, it has the curved shaft, which I've always hated that curved shaft. But I got a good deal on it. It's the 4-stroke. It also has the detachable where you can put in different heads on it. And I had a Ryobi. It was a 2-stroke, but it had the detachable heads on it, and those fit right in this one. I also learned, which I'll get into, a Poland Pro. They use the same attachment deal, so um, that was one reason why I went with this one, is so I could use uh, the detachable heads that I have on the other ones. Anyways, so I've noticed that whenever I had this, it just seemed to never have any power. Um, I'd get it going, it would just kind of bog down and not do what it's supposed to. So I did a couple modifications to it. One, I don't know if you can see the hole, but I basically drilled out the exhaust, so it has it still has to baffle through a little bit, kind of zigzag through, but it's a lot more of a straight shot, so it's a little bit louder. Also, let's see. I also cut a hole right here. You can see that very well, but I cut that out there. That's where your filter goes, so the air can come in through here, and it can come in through here. Right here is where it had the little baffles or whatever, and I cut all those out, and I kind of filed it down. Anyways, and then I ported this out a little bit more since I was down in there. You see the valve cover? I painted it red just because it looks like it needed to be painted red. Anyways, so last night I was messing around with it. I put new lines in there and blew out the filter, all that good stuff, and it did seem to help a little bit doing all that extra stuff. Now, one thing, let me mention this real quick. I do have an aftermarket head. This originally had the bump head or whatever, and I like this design. It's super fast. I have a bunch of these already cut up, and whenever it's down, you just slip a new one in there, good to go. But it does create, your weed eater does have to have more torque in order to spin both of these, because you got 4 lines instead of just 2. So that was one problem of why this seemed underpowered, but it still shouldn't be this bad. Now, whenever I'm going, there's like a shaft that's inside of here, and you can hear it bouncing up against the internal part of that. I had it on choke. All right. I know the lighting isn't really all that good, but you can kind of hear it popping and all that stuff. So, of course, I don't like that. Well, a friend of mine gave me his Poland Pro, and at first it needed, the exhaust was all clogged up, and it worked for a while, but then it's just lost compression, so it's not good anymore. Alright, let's fasten this on. So, now I got my straight shaft trimmer. through everything. As you see, it could use another line on there, and it'd really get through this stuff. So there you go. That's some old gas, I can tell. And also I'm going to change the spark plug. Oh, and another thing I did was I adjusted the valves. The valve lash on the little rocker arms. The problem with 4-stroke is that they're pretty heavy. This one's almost 14 pounds. Which, yeah, it doesn't sound like very much, but whenever you're holding it for a while and you have all the vibration and maybe you're reaching out to try and get into a spot, it gets pretty heavy after a while, especially compared to a 9-pound 2-stroke. But, so if you have, to me, if I have something heavy, that's fine. I want to be able to whip through it so I don't have to hover over it for a while. And I think after I put a longer cord on there, it'd go through it a lot faster. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. These just aren't made for anything. I mean, anything heavy duty like that. Let me show you, hold on. So here's my other attachments. I have a blower with a bag somewhere, but anyways, it's a mulcher. Sucks it up here, mulches, shoots it out here. I don't know where the bag is. The bag's somewhere on here. I got an edger. Needs a new blade. And then I have a brush cutter here. And so that's the main reason why I wanted to stay with getting an attachable one, because I already have, I'm already invested in that. Here's the line I'm using. And this is, I'll admit, this is some pretty thick. That's some pretty thick line. But basically all I do is I line this up from here, and I have a mark right here. So I just pull this out, snip it, pull out some more, snip it, and I'll have a whole bunch of those. Anyways, I usually just put them in my waistband, and then sometimes if I'm doing a whole lot of them, I just use a zip tie, wrap it around there, and shove a bunch of them in there. And then pull them out as I need them, and then I can tighten that zip tie. And it keeps them on there pretty good. I really thought I had it on there. I guess I think I cut it off whenever I was working on this the other night. So, alright, well, there you go. Y'all comment, rate. I hope this helps somebody out. It wasn't necessarily the engine, it was the head that was slowing me down. So, comment, rate. We'll talk to you later. See ya.